I can
There.
see it
So,
too.
yeah, so that's a beginner's guide to being human. That's the interior. And it starts off very simply, welcome to humanity. You're really going to love it here. And so it introduces, we see children kind of throughout the day, various children just living their lives throughout the day. And I start off saying, the human species has so much to offer: imagination, opposable thumbs, and a tremendous amount of diversity. Put these all together, and you've got an amazing life ahead of you. However, to get the most out of your human experience, there are some things you need to know. And then we get into things like kindness and compassion. And the first thing we start off here, that group of humans who hang around you all the time is known as family. And no matter what they look like, sound like, or smell like, they're the people who care about you the most. And you don't even need to be related to be family. Families love each other, disappoint each other, support each other, get angry with each other over and over, sometimes all in the same day. Weird, right? And yet that whole caring about you part never stops.
That's
So
beautiful.
when we get into a little bit more into compassion and kindness and kind of what it means, for one example I give is being kind. It means more than just being polite. Maybe, and I give examples like sharing a book or a toy, or giving your sister the last pancake. And then I mentioned about letting a best friend get on the bus, and you see a bunch of kids getting on the school bus. I said, let your friend get on the bus first. Better yet, let someone you don't even know get on the bus first. Little things like that unfortunately they're not even second nature to adults these days.
Right.
But hopefully kids can, and it's not, I didn't want it to be preachy or didactic. So it's just, it's kind of saying, hey, here's this way, that you could be, kind, being empathetic means understanding how someone feels, like putting yourself in their place and feeling like, oh, I understand how that person feels. So if someone bumps into you, maybe they lost their glasses.
Right.
Someone, a kid is in the lunch line at school, and they cut in front of you in line. Maybe that's the only meal they have all day long. Think about things like that. And so hopefully, kids and parents will get something out of it.
And that's been kind of a theme of the last month on the podcast. We talked to Trudy Ludwig earlier this month. We've talked to Stephanie Galloway and the I'm Just Me Foundation, Rodney and Tina Culbreth. And what I love is that throughout these episodes, the common theme has been connection and how do we build empathy as an action word. And
Right.
I think that your book really builds nicely onto that. It's one of those things that we
So,
really need today in our country, both for children and adults.
thank you. And one of the small little parts, and it's a small part, but I think it's a big part as well. There's a scene in the book where I'm talking about forgiveness, and I say how there's going to be some great days, and there's going to be some not so great days. There are going to be days where you're going to feel sadness, disappointment, maybe anger, and but that's what forgiveness is for. And I told actually both of my editors, because Naomi Kruger was the one who it was her idea, and she's the one who bought the manuscript and kind of got the ball rolling. And then she ended up taking over some other areas at the publishing company. So she handed the manuscript off to Andrea Hall, who's been a wonderful editor who helped wrap it all up. And one thing that I told them both, I really wanted to make sure that we did, and they both agreed, was that in the spread that shows forgiveness, it's the adult who is saying they're sorry to the kid, because far too often it's always the kid who messed up and they made the mistake and they have to apologize, either to an adult or they have to apologize to another kid. Like, it's always the kid.
Right.
And I said, I really want it to be an adult, like the parent, making the mistake, screwing up, and showing the kid, like, I'm sorry, because we parents,
we're not
I screw up all the
perfect.
time.
Same.
I'm flying by the seat of my pants with the whole parenting thing, and I wanted to show kids that we grown-ups do it too. You're not alone, and in having bad days. You're not alone in making mistakes. You know, we grown-ups make our own fair share.
Absolutely. And yeah, there is no real parenting guide. We're flying by the seat
Right.
of our pants. So
Yep. Yep.
sometimes we will
It's
mess up.
OTJ, on the job training, you know.